The July jobs report came out this morning, and it is an absolute disaster for Trump. Not just because it showed the economy lost 22,000 jobs in July when they were expecting an addition of 80,000 jobs. Not just because they revised down May and June by another 100,000 jobs. It's a disaster because the report confirms what working Americans already know. It's just only now being shown in the data. That's that the last 18 months has been the worst 18 months for the job market since the Great Recession. By the way, I'm camping, so here's a deer. Look, it's a baby. It's so bad that one of Trump's own economic advisors thought it would be a good idea to try to explain it away by saying, don't worry, it's just because there was this weird thing where a bunch of teachers got laid off. But if you don't count that, then everything is fine. Imagine your economy being so bad that you think distracting people with laid off teachers is actually a smart idea. And on top of that, this month confirms that technology employment is down 3.8% from its peak just 4 years ago, which means that in just 18 months under Donald Trump, the tech sector, which has some of the last remaining well-paying jobs, has been hit harder than it was during the Great Recession. If that's not bad enough for Trump, some of those tech layoffs won't even show up in the July report because thousands of people who were laid off in May, just like me, they were given paid exit ramps just like me, so we weren't officially unemployed until this summer, which means on top of everything else, the next couple of jobs reports are going to go from bad to worse, which I think is a pretty good slogan for the entire Trump economy.
Just following on for the video about the buy-to-lets, I'm just going to talk about that because it's mega important. There's a lot of people getting very confused by it. So think about this. If you own another property you rent out, you rent it out for a reason. There's no reason for you to buy a property and do it up. Pay legal fees, lender's fees, valuation fees, do the property up, spend loads of money doing it up, repairs, the hassle getting tenants in, etc, etc, etc. Why would you go through all that? Well, the reason a lot of people are doing it is because they want to make money. It's like a little side hustle to have another income coming into their main income, isn't it? So think about that. If it's in your name, if you're a Mr. and Mrs. but you buy a property in just your name, well then it's in your name. And that mortgage is a contract of law. It's not a personal loan like a credit card or a £3,000 personal loan. It's a charge that the bank will have on your property, a physical charge on the property. And basically, you can't just transfer it to your missus or your kids. You cannot. If you're the only owner of that property and you die and you have a mortgage on it, the bank that's borrowed you that mortgage is going to say, where's our money? How are we going to pay us back? And if you haven't got a life cover or loads and loads of money in the bank to pay that full mortgage off when you die, the bank is going to take that property off you. They're going to repossess it. Then all that hard work is gone. What is the point? So having a simple life insurance in your name gets rid of that problem. Use the profit on that rent and use the profit to pay the life cover. Does that make sense? So at least then you've got a position that you'll guarantee that you then can pass it to your missus or you can pass it to your kids, and then you can achieve what you want.
If you're a worker and you pay taxes, then you are going to want to listen to this. Bright Blue is a think tank and they are urging Andy Burnham to raise taxes. Now this is getting absolutely ridiculous. Everyone is going to be squeezed to the limit. So they are urging the income tax that comes out of wages or self-employment. They are urging that to go from 20% up to 31%. And then the top earners, they want to go from 40% to 48%. But they haven't finished there. They also want low earners to pay tax. So anyone earning between 5,000 and 12,000 and 12,700, I believe, they want a 13% tax on them also. So it doesn't matter really what you earn, you are going to pay tax. This is the Labour government for you. And no doubt Andy Burnham is going to suck this up and claim that, you know, we've got no choice. Now, the reason they've put this forward is because of self-employment. There's 5 million people self-employed, but they don't take sickness pay, they don't have maternity pay, they don't have the usual benefits you get if you're actually in paid, well, not paid, employment, should I say. So they want all those same rights to go to the self-employed. So the self-employed are also going to be paying towards this. But anything this Labour government does is all about raising taxes, because they can't think of any other way apart from hitting the worker time and time again. These tax rises are absolutely horrendous, but I believe that Andy Burnham is going to lap them up, and because that's just what Labour do. So let me know in the comments what you think about this, because I know that I'm not happy about this whatsoever. This is a huge leap in tax. The basic income tax, 20% to 31%. And then bringing in another tax bracket for low earners between 5,000 and 12,700. A 13% tax bracket on there. This government are finished.
In April of 2008, the U.S. economy added 80,000 jobs. In May of 2008, something shocked the system. The U.S. economy suddenly lost 26,000 jobs. Within 2 months, in July of 2008, 200,000 jobs were lost in a single month. May of 2008 was one of the first ripple signs of what was to be known as the Great Recession. Along with grifters in the most senior corporate positions, the 2008 Great Recession is known as one of the worst economic catastrophes since the 1929 Great Depression. As U.S. petroleum levels fall to the point that we have not seen in many decades, the U.S. economy lost 23,000 jobs in the month of July unexpectedly. This is as we've seen the price of everything go up over the summer. Is the job numbers in July of 2026 a sign of something that is to come? Is the U.S. economy about to nosedive? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Until next time, guys, drop a follow on TikTok or drop a follow on Instagram. Love you guys. I'll talk to you later.
Based on how hard they're crashing out this morning, I don't think MAGA fully understands why Donald Trump's speech tanked last night. In fact, I know they don't, because based on a new Washington Post poll, they're the only group in the country that believes the economy is going to get better in the next year. See, 10 years ago, he crashed out because he couldn't believe a woman got more votes than he did. 6 years ago, he crashed out because he couldn't believe we took his power away from him. And right now, instead of explaining why it keeps getting more expensive to live in this country even though nobody's getting promotions or raises, instead of explaining why he had to reboot his forever war with Iran, instead of explaining why they've charged more people with crimes related to the reflecting pool than the files, he gave a primetime speech to cry about why he lost power 6 years ago so that he wouldn't lose more power 4 months from now. And it seems MAGAs are the only people who don't understand that he wouldn't have this problem in the first place if he spent the past year and a half with his nearly unquestioned power making our lives better instead of paying the people he pardoned to shoot immigrants in their vehicles. See, FDR, Ronald Reagan, JFK, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden, they all got more done with less power than Donald Trump has in this term. Just look at this question from the same poll. Would you say you are better off financially than when this person became president? They compared every president going back to Reagan, and right now more people under Donald Trump say that they are not as well off than said about any other president in over 40 years. And this isn't just a low point, because right now more than twice as many people say the economy is going to get worse over the next year than say it's going to get better. But this gelatinous shitberg wants to take our time to complain to us about what might happen if he loses power. If we could all be so lucky.
Is operating as a sole trader now more tax efficient than through a limited company? This answer may surprise people, but in some cases it can be. Now, I'll caveat to say always do the maths, run the numbers on your own personal situation to know for sure. But I'm going to give an example here using profits of £50,000 to give you a bit of a glimpse of how the numbers work. So as a sole trader, you're automatically taxed on your profits. So if the profits are £50,000, that's what goes on your tax return. You'll have your personal allowance to come off that, your £12,570, and the rest you will pay tax at 20%, and you will pay class 4 national insurance at 6%, so sort of a 26% tax rate. There'll also be a little bit of class 2 national insurance to pay as well on top of that. Now, as a limited company, if you're at that £50,000 threshold, first of all, you pay yourself a salary of £12,570 typically. That may change a little bit depending on the employment allowance, but let's just say for whatever reason you get the employment allowance. So that would reduce your taxable profits, your corporation tax profits, to £50,000 less £12,570. The same as a sole trader. So in this case, as a limited company though, you'll be paying corporation tax on them profits at 19%. But then any cash you wanted to get out of the company after that, you into your personal hands, spent personally, you'd be paying dividend tax at 10.75%. So there is a dividend allowance of £500, but on them numbers you can see sort of 19% corporation tax on the first chunk of it. Then the profits after the corporation tax, you're paying 10% dividend tax, 10.75%. So you can see the 19% corporation tax rate, 10.75% dividend tax rate comes to 29.75% versus as a sole trader 20% tax, 6% national insurance, 26%. There's a little nuance there because your dividends come after the taxable profits, after the tax is deducted. But the numbers can work out that actually being a sole trader is more tax efficient. Now, I've given the example of £50,000 profit deliberately because this is where a limited company can be more beneficial, because you can be more flexible on taking money out of your limited company. If you are a sole trader and you make over £50,000, you taxed on all of your profits, so you're automatically going to be paying higher rate tax, which you then looking at 40% tax and 2% national insurance, so 42% tax rate. As a limited company, you can decide what you take out of that limited company. So you can decide, actually, I'm only going to draw out personally up to £50,000, keep myself below the higher rate tax threshold. That's where a limited company starts to have a benefit. But again, as a sole trader, you can look at employing your spouse. You can look at a partnership with your spouse to get both of your incomes down. So from a tax point of view, that can still work. Obviously, the one big draw with a limited company is that limited liability protection. The limited company is a separate entity, so that provides a lot less risk for you. Other things to consider, like as a sole trader, you've now got making tax digital for income tax, where you've got to do quarterly reporting. If income is over £50,000, you don't have to do that as a limited company. Extra admin with a limited company, you've got your confirmation statements, you've got a set of accounts to do, you've got accountancy fees that are a lot more expensive. So there's a lot of nuance in it. Always best taking advice for what works for you personally.
My impression of Donald Trump, I'm being sick again because I'm sick. Well, I've gotten it, folks. I have gotten the Joe Biden disease. They are calling it the Bidenaria virus. And this is a very bad one. This is the single most nastiest disorder that exists in all of the world. And this is much worse than COVID. COVID wasn't that bad, honestly, compared to this. COVID is not that bad at all. It killed a couple of people. It came from China. But believe me, people always say, Donald, COVID this, COVID that, the pandemic, the picnic, or whatever. But this is much worse. It makes you very sleepy. I call it the Sleepy Joe virus. It makes you very sleepy, very stupid, and worst of all, very bad at golf. But it's a very bad virus. There is another virus that is going around now called Obamanophobia. I haven't caught that one yet. Hopefully I don't.
What the fuck was that? What the fuck? Donald Trump's speech last night? Complete fucking blunder. Utter fucking failure. Which is right on par with everything else that comes out of that motherfucker's mouth. But last night specifically, every joke he tried to land, room full of fucking silence. He announced that he's gonna run for a fourth term, expecting to hear resounding applause, room full of fucking silence. He made all types of insensitive jokes that did not land in any way, shape, or form. That speech specifically was fucking terrible. That man is out of his fucking mind, quite literally. Like, his mind is failing him. His organs are failing them. He does not have a grip on reality. The leader of the United States of America, the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military, does not have a grip on reality, people. This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is so incredibly fucking dangerous, and we are not speaking out enough and truly grasping this for what it is. The leader of the United States of America is fucking insane. He has lied so fucking much to where he believes his lies to be fucking true. The U.S. Constitution clearly states that you can only serve 2 presidential terms. So when he finishes this one, that is wraps. Yet the person who's supposed to defend and uphold the Constitution, the same way the soldiers take an oath to defend and uphold the Constitution, this motherfucker puts on a Trump 2028 hat, expecting applause. He tells Caitlyn to smile more, which is rooted in misogyny, if you didn't fucking know. He makes a trans joke targeted at Caitlyn, amongst a large fucking display of other insensitive, uncalled for, unnecessary jokes. This motherfucker is pitiful. This man is not a role model. This man is not a leader. This man is not anything to be celebrated. This man is a child molesting, PDF file, racist, misogynistic fuck. And somehow we have enough fucking idiots in this goddamn country that voted him to be the leader of the United States. This is fucking hell. This is hell that we have to accept as our bullshit reality. That speech last night is an embarrassment to the entire fucking country, just like Donald Trump being the 47th president is an embarrassment to the entire fucking country. Great job, America. How the fuck do we come back from this bullshit? Well, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on?
I don't think Americans realize that they have everything they claim dictatorships already have, right? We don't have secret police, we have undercover cops. We don't have gulags, we have private prisons. We don't have labor camps, we have the prison industrial complex where you have to work for free. The 14th Amendment says so. We don't have corruption, we have lobbying. We don't have rigged elections. We have campaign finance. Calling it some different shit doesn't make it different. Oh, this other country, they're an oligarchy. What the fuck do you call it when the rich people run all the politics in your country? That's what we have. We're a fucking dictatorship. Oh, so-and-so country killed so-and-so protesters. Nigga, we have that shit. We just saw ICE kill person after person in the anti-ICE protests. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, so-and-so country doesn't have freedom of speech. Yo, criticize Israel at your job right now. Criticize Israel on live television right now. Criticize Israel on this app right now. See what happens. What the fuck are you? What country are you guys living in? They'll bring up shit like the Uyghur genocide, like we don't see a Native American once every blue moon. Like,
trickle-down economy is not working. And how do we know this? Because the job reports just came in. So in the month of July alone, 23,000 jobs were lost. And they had to adjust the other previous months down 103,000 jobs because they overestimated. And this again really does demonstrate that all these tax cuts they put in place pretty much a year ago now for these big businesses did not stimulate economic growth because there are no jobs being created. So trickle-down economy, yet again, did not work. And I don't know what more needs to happen in the United States before people start to realize this is clearly a lie. It's not working. It's never worked, and things are getting worse since the 80s. And we're just stuck in this circle because people refuse to accept the reality that trickle-down economy is not beneficial to a functioning, developed nation. It's detrimental because those companies are not going to invest back into the company. So, like I said before, we now have stagnant economic growth, no jobs being made, wages are stagnant, and inflation's going up. So we are clearly in stagflation. And how do I know that again? Because the Federal Reserve Chair, the new one that they just put in office that Trump wanted, will not raise the interest or lower the interest rates. He wants to raise them, which he should. That's the only way to fix stagflation. And so we're here. So I'm hoping things get better. I just feel bad for the young people and the older people, actually, who have to live with family, can't just go out and have their own space because they can't afford it anymore, because everything is so grossly expensive, because our government will continue to ride on the idea of trickle-down economy and won't put regulations in place to prevent corporate greed. Y'all have a great day.
Your passport is probably going to get stolen when you think you have it in the perfect place to protect it, but you don't. In 2026, there are new trends of how passports are being stolen and American travelers are getting scammed. I'm going to go through this quickly to tell you the 2026 trends of where passports are getting stolen, what you can do about, and the number one mistake travelers are making when they do lose their passport. You might want to save so you can come back to it and send it to your friends who are traveling. It's the best gift you can give them to be safe. I'm Karen Shaler. I'm an Emmy award-winning journalist. I've traveled to more than 68 countries for my travel therapy TV show and writing my movies and books. And I'm here giving daily travel tips and tricks to help you have less stress when you're traveling. And losing your passport would be right up there at the top of your list. One of the biggest scams is starting at the airport. You're taking out your passport to check in, go through kiosks and all of that. How many of you put it on an outside bag of your suitcase or your purse or your backpack so it's easy to grab for all this? The thieves know that. That's what they're doing. So make sure you have your passport, and when you put it in your bag, it's buried in the middle where nobody can grab it. Train stations are another huge target where people are looking to steal your passport. So same advice. Don't have it easy access. People are watching. Make sure you protect it. Cafes and restaurants, another place where passports are being stolen more than ever in 2026. Let's admit it, we have our guard down. You know, you have your bag, it might be right there on your chair and someone can just grab it, or you go off to the bathroom and you set your bag down for a second. And tourist areas and those major attractions, number one. Also for passport theft. So be very careful. Don't have to have your passport when you're doing a day of sightseeing. It's best to leave it back at the hotel only if you have a locked safe. Don't leave it in your luggage or hide it in a drawer in your underwear or something. Don't trust. Another place that people are making a mistake, they're leaving their passport like in a backpack in a trunk of a rental car because they think, okay, that's safe. It's out of sight, out of mind. First of all, your bag's going to get stolen and your passport's going to get stolen with it. And there's the one bag failure. You put your passport with your money, with your sunglasses, whatever, all in one bag. The bag gets stolen, everything goes. And that's why this number one tip for your passport safety in case your passport gets stolen, everyone says, take a picture of it before you go, the front and the barcode. Yeah, that's great. But then they're telling you to put it on your phone in a private folder. Well, your phone is often stolen with your passport. So bad idea. I've done a video on that. But what you can do is you can email it to yourself, take a picture of your passport, send it to friends and family, but don't leave it on your phone only because there's a good chance your phone is going to be stolen when you lose your passport. I'm here answering your travel questions. What do you need to know?
All right, guys, listen to me very carefully as we have breaking news just coming in. If you have family anywhere in West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, Western Virginia, or parts of the Mid-Atlantic, you need to pay attention to this post because this flooding emergency is getting worse by the hour. Officials have declared a statewide emergency across all 55 counties of West Virginia after relentless heavy rain triggered catastrophic flash flooding. Some of these communities are saying that they have received more than 7 inches of rain just in the past hour alone. And that water, it has nowhere to go. Floodwaters have rushed through neighborhoods. They're saying entire roads have just disappeared underwater. Bridges have been damaged, and emergency crews are carrying out dozens of water rescues. I just got reports that the National Guard has been activated, and there are hundreds of Guard members helping with all of these rescues. The greatest impacts are being reported across parts of central and southern West Virginia, while eastern Kentucky is also dealing with dangerous flooding. Flood watches and warnings continue in surrounding portions of West Virginia. And they're saying whatever you do, please stay off the roads. That additional flooding could be on its way. But to everybody watching this post, please take this serious. This is not just rain anymore. Flash flooding can develop in minutes. Roads are being washed out and blocked by water. There's reports of downed trees, power outages, dangerous cloud-to-ground lightning, and heavy thunderstorms continue to hit the region. As a reminder, it only takes a small amount of water to move your car. So please stay off the road at all costs. If you have friends or family anywhere in West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, Western Virginia, or flooded prone areas, now is a good time to check in with them. But as always, I will continue to monitor this story and bring every single one of you updates as they come in. We got some new breaking news just coming in that both China and Russia have came out publicly and said that they will not come to the aid of Iran. They will not save them and they will not arm them. President Trump says both China's president, Xi Jinping, and Russia's president, Vladimir Putin, have personally told him that they will not sell weapons to Iran. Now, according to Donald Trump's statement, President Xi said China, including Chinese companies, would not provide weapons to the Islamic Republic of Iran. Trump has also made the announcement that he has received confirmation from Vladimir Putin himself that Russia will not sell weapons to Iran. So much for all of you conspiracy theorists thinking that another world war is coming. But if these commitments hold, as I think that they will, it could dramatically affect Iran's ability to obtain military equipment from two of the world's biggest powers. But here's the caveat. Right now, as we speak, these statements are only made by our president himself, Donald J. Trump. But as always, I will continue to watch for official confirmation or an additional response from China or Russia themselves. But for all my followers out there, if this turns out to be true, what do you think this means for the conflict when it comes to the strength and the power or the lack of it from the IRGC?